Hi, this is going to be my attempt to break down the needle gun in as much detail as possible. This is the most complicated and buggy weapon in the game, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. So the first thing I'm going to show off is perks do affect your damage, however, it doesn't affect your breakpoints at all. You should never run Flak, Carapace, or Maniac on this. Second off, for blessings, you should never run crits, because all crits ever do is going to make you need to shoot one less needle per enemy to kill them. So for like a Havoc 40 gunner, you have to shoot 2 shots to the body to kill them. A crit means you only have to shoot 1. However, the rate of fire is high enough, and the mental stack of trying to say, oh, I got a crit, I don't need to shoot a follow-up shot, is ridiculous and completely unwarranted, especially considering you have infinite ammo with Pickpocket. Now, another thing I'd like to show you right away is there is a bug with this weapon. I'm going to immediately substantiate my first claim that perks do actually affect the dot on this. They affect all dots. So you can see, we just put Carapace on. So we were doing 610 per tick without Carapace. You see that? 610. Now, we put Carapace on, and we're still doing 610. This has incorrectly led some people to believe that your perk damage does not actually affect your dot. Well, there is a bug with this class where unless you swap your weapon and swap back, the perk doesn't actually update. As you can see, we're now doing 765, which is about what you'd expect. Another thing to keep in mind as well is that this talent, In Your Face, this only activates, which for the purposes of this, we're going to show this only activates just all the time. This is never lower than 10 meters, and this does affect the dot. This is very easy to show you right now. As soon as I put the weapon on. Also, strip down is only active, or the running gun is only active when you're sprinting. So we do 610, now we take this off, now we do 501. You can also see sprinting activates strip down. And this is incredibly worth it. Now you might ask, why is this worth it? Well, allow me to show you something on Havoc 40. And this is really the single most important thing you need to keep in mind for this weapon before we talk about further rolls. This is without Carapace. You see the 610? So this is without Carapace and without Flak. You will, with 5 shots, regardless of crit, always be able to kill a Havoc 40 Crusher. Doesn't matter if it has rotten armor, doesn't matter any details. Unless it's got purple on it or something that regenerates its health, you will always kill it. This is true from all distances. Now you can see we're going to put Flak and we're going to put Carapace on, and we're going to swap the gun out so that we aren't falling victim to bug misinformation. And you can see, we get a crit so that doesn't count. But you can see that in Havoc 40, even with close range damage and Flak, you need to be very close to the gunner to kill them in one shot. If you go from a distance, you still won't kill them, unless you activate running gun damage bonus. So this is potentially worth it. However, I think you should just shoot them twice. The fire rate is so fast that just shooting one extra shot is quite literally imperceptible. So this is why I would never advocate for using Flak. And as you can see, the Crusher still dies no matter what. So Carapace is completely useless. If you see somebody running Carapace on this, just let them know it literally doesn't change any breakpoints. Crushers die just as fast. And for Flak, it's basically the same thing. You're always going to double tap a Flak guy, even if you're using Flak, because the conditions to one-shot them are either recognize you got a crit before you shot your second shot, which, if you have that kind of reaction time, you had better never get hit by a disabler or an overhead or anything. That's like 0.2 second reaction time. That'd be ridiculous. Excuse me. Or to get a crit, or I'm sorry, or to get a headshot or anything like that. Now, let me show you this as well. And of course, this is true on Auric. If it's true on Havoc, it's very true on Auric. You don't even need any extras. This is just with the fixins just to show you. But here is your breakpoints on literally everything in Auric. So in Auric, you 2-tap Maulers to the body, you 1-tap Plasma Gunners, you 1-tap all these elite ranged. Worth noting, in Havoc 40, you need 2 shots or a crit or a headshot to kill these guys. Specials, which, you know, they kind of die the same way on Havoc and Auric. Specials all take 1 body shot. Doesn't matter if you crit, it doesn't matter anything. 1 body shot will always kill them, except for dogs and mutants. Dogs take 2, mutants take 3. And then, for close-ranged guys, you pretty much always want to double tap both Ragers just to be safe. but you can get away with one tapping regular ragers. This is especially apparent in Havoc, where you can just put a dot on like 5 of them if you're fighting a big pack of them while you're at close range to maximize your close range damage bonus, like from run and gun, and they just all fall over like 2 seconds later. Now, another thing I'd like to clear up just immediately. The difference between the marks, because I've seen a lot of incorrect information on this. So you can see we crit the body for 238 with this mark. Now we swap to the Mark 6, and you can see that our body shot criticals now do 270. So the Mark 6 on critical and on headshot applies 1 extra stack of the poison, but it does not spread the poison when you shoot the alt fire. The Mark II does spread the poison on the alt fire at the cost of criticals and headshots, each giving you 1 less stack, critical headshots giving you 2 less. This doesn't really matter because everything still like gets the same cap and will die in basically the same amount of shots, so it really doesn't matter which mark you use. And this, I show this off with the rest of the clip. There's another bug worth mentioning. If you start the alt fire of the Mark II and then swap to the Mark 6 in the Psychanium, you'll keep the Mark II's alt fire, which has incredibly led to a lot of confusion where people just straight up do not know what it actually does. Now, here's the alt fire differences. Worth noting, this was tested on a fresh restart of the game to make sure there was no bugs. So this is the Mark II. And then we do this. Now, I got lucky here, and the game didn't brick, even though I met the conditions. And you can see the Mark 6, when it's working correctly, does not spread the dot. Though, something that's worth noting, I don't know how to show this off in a way that will make sense, but if you shoot the floor with either mark, it still spreads the dot like this. And this is consistent and repeatable everywhere. So you can see that we can just shoot the ground with either mark, and it has a massive radius, like boom, boom, boom. And even if you're using the Mark 6 without the explosive spread, this is kind of just better than shooting. I'm sorry, even if you use the Mark II with the explosive spread, on everything other than Poxwalkers, this is sort of just better. Because it only takes 1 shot at the floor to kill every trash mob. Other than these guys. These guys, it's still better to shoot them. But the thing is, you never want to do that. So this is something else I'll just shove in here. Do not shoot multiple times the same guy like this. It doesn't really help the dot spread, at all. So for this, you want to, shoot each of them 1 time. Because 1 shot is enough to kill them. So if you're going to use the spreader version, you want 1 shot per guy. That is significantly more effective. Now, you can probably guess why we're taking reload speed, unyielding, run and gun, and strip down with all that information I provided. We're taking reload speed because, well, if Maniac, Carapace, and Flak literally don't change our breakpoints, why would we use them? Might as well reload faster. And unyielding is for boss damage. The blessings are very simple. Yes, you can get an extra hit of cleave with hot shot, but who cares? You have an alt fire. Crits do technically help, but it's such an increase to the mental stack to try and actually leverage them because it takes so few shots to get full stacks, and full stacks will always kill as long as you know your breakpoints. You don't care if you crit or not. So being able to sprint while shooting and getting a damage bonus for bosses and having the ability to ignore gunners is incredibly powerful. This setup will work as good as any other possible setup while giving you a bunch of extra bonuses. So another thing I'd like to show off is the boss damage. This weapon has fantastic boss damage. So let me just show you against the Plague Ogren. So you can see we do 763 without sprinting, without ultimate, without stim. And then we just activate this stuff. This is just going to be stand-in for a damage stim. It's not super accurate, but it just gives you an idea. We can get almost 1,200 per tick, just like this. It's quite ridiculous. With your personal damage stim from the Cartel Special, it'll be closer to 1,000 to 1,100. I just forgot to set the stim up for the video build. But the point is, you can see, now you may ask, why does this matter? Other weapons do double, some cases triple the DPS of this. Well, because dot damage is not like regular DPS. You just shoot the guy a couple times. Let's say he's chasing your teammate. You just shoot him a few times, go back to whatever you're doing, turn around, shoot him a few more times, go back to what you're doing. And I mean, look, we've already taken half his health away in like, 20, 30 seconds. This is fantastic. I cannot understate how good the boss damage of this is, because you don't have to think about it. You don't have to like spend actual time doing it. It's just something you do. And right there, that was sloppy as hell. No stim, no ultimate, no run and gun, no nothing, and we still got 2500 DPS. Putting 2500 DPS on like 3 bosses that you also don't have to upkeep or like manage, just every like 5 seconds turn around, shoot them once or twice, that is crazy. That's a total like combined DPS of over 7000. That's better than some of the highest DPS things in the entire game. Then you consider Pickpocket gives us unlimited ammo, and this is a wonderful addition to any team. Now, as you saw, 2 taps on elites will kill them outright, like no matter what. Which means this is a fantastic elite sniper. Just 2 shots, that's not a very good, I wish they didn't add the plasma gunner right here. But you could see, pop, 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 there you go. Even on Havoc 40, regardless of modifiers, those guys are dead. So you could just be like, pop, 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 and hey, look at that. That's 3 guys you can kill per magazine easy. You can also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pop, pop, and look at that. That's a Havoc 40 Crusher and a Havoc 40 Elite Gunner you can kill every magazine. If you're fighting a horde, you can just, oh, there's a guy coming in, just shoot him 1 time, and there you go. This weapon has unlimited potential. It is an A-tier clearer of elites, because you have unlimited ammo, and it does it quickly, and you can kill multiple of them per magazine. It is an A-tier crusher killer. It is an A-tier specialist sniper. It's pretty terrible at horde clear, but let's be real, you're not taking this for horde clear. And it does, in my opinion, S-tier boss damage. It won't absolutely nuke any one boss, but it will massively increase your overall boss damage output across the team. I actually top boss damage in Havoc 40 most of the time that I use this, because it's just like 1000 damage tick with full uptime. It's very hard to beat that. It's also a perfect pocket weapon for any build, because any build can make use of this. Now, I would recommend not using Desperado with this because it doesn't really do a whole lot. Oh, something else to mention, Uncanny absolutely helps the dot. So we do 163, pop Uncanny, we're now doing 198. So just to put that to bed, I don't know why Mr. E in the pre-release, you know, God bless his heart, said that Uncanny and Rending doesn't affect this dot. That's very easy to find out that's not true. So I'm just going to chalk that up to him being a blurb. I don't think he's an idiot. I think he just messed up there. But just to quell that rumor, it absolutely is affected by Rending. And another thing I'd like to show off. So we have Carapace on the knife and not this weapon. So you could see we do 122. Now, if we pull out the knife, we do 126, which is slightly more. Why are we not benefiting from that 25%? Well, we are. So if I pull out a knife that doesn't have Carapace on it, 122, now we go down to 120. Just holding the weapon will increase your dot damage because of In Your Face. For some reason, In Your Face seems to stop activating when you take the ranged weapon away, which means using Carapace on your melee weapon basically is just the same as having In Your Face procced. It doesn't actually raise your damage if you're using that, which you should be. I think that covers just about everything. Oh, something I want to show off is... oh, wait, I already showed off shooting the floor. Sorry, dumbass dementia moment. Yeah, I think that shows off everything. Overall, I think this weapon is ridiculously powerful. I think this is one of the strongest parts of Scum's entire kit. I think it's impossible to go wrong with this. I think this is a weapon that you can absolutely put on any build, and as long as you... as long as you took Pickpocket, you can kite pretty much forever. Pickpocket plus knife plus this gun allows you to kite literally anything, any amount of bosses, crushers, etc. As long as you have room to move and you have the needle gun, you can theoretically win just about any situation. Some people will consider that to be overpowered. Personally, I don't. because it takes a while. It's very easy to make one mistake and die when you're in that situation. Oh, also, another thing to keep in mind. This is without a keystone, mind you. Your damage versus a crusher with no keystone, no ultimate, no nothing, about 1,000. If you shoot the crusher first with the dot and get the uncanny going, about 1,800. This weapon will straight up double your damage versus crushers, which is not something that can be understated, especially in Havoc. Overall, this is a fantastic weapon. I would rate it an overall S tier. Absolutely amazing weapon.